Hello and welcome. I am Lopamudra Moitro and you are listening to my weekly podcast, What's in a Story, where I read stories from my books along with a small introduction about each. These stories are from my work as an anthropologist from across India and South Asia, and the introductions with each story helps to explain different related information about, say, maybe aspects like history, languages and literature, music, trade and economy, festivals, or facts about archaeology, and many other things which are all important to understand or get a meaning or a context of a story. In this second season, we will listen specially to narratives of and about water bodies from Asia, and this will include stories from the smallest of water bodies like wells or small ponds to lakes, rivers, or the sea and the ocean. Let's listen to today's episode in season 2 of What's in a Story. About the story, Sage Gautam and River Godavari. I read this story from my book, How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends by Aleph Book Company. The story is from the Kotirudra Samhita of the Shiva Puran. Brahmagiri is a mountain range in the Western Ghats in India and is located in the Nasik district of the Western Indian state of Maharashtra. The Trimbakeshwar temple is located near it. The origin of the Godavari river is considered to be near Trimbak. The river Godavari flows eastwards and meets the Bay of Bengal after crossing several states of India, including Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and covering a distance of 1465 kilometers approximately. It drains approximately 312,812 square kilometers of land and has many tributaries which flow through the entire region. The river Godavari also has many folklores associated with it, and this river helps many economic activities around the region. Follows the story Sage Gautam and River Godavari from my book How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends by Aleph Book Company. The story Sage Gautam and River Godavari. Once there was a very severe drought in and around the region of the Brahmagiri mountain. People, plants and animals were all suffering alike and dying of starvation. There was no rainfall. The wells, ponds, and riverbeds were dry. The agricultural lands lay bare and parched. All around there was only pain and death, and this continued for an entire century. The great sage Gautam, living in the Brahmagiri mountain, was pained to see the dire situation all around. He decided to pray to the gods to find a solution. Thus, he started a deep tapasya, that is meditation, on the Brahmagiri mountain. He started to pray to Lord Varun, the god of rains and water. Gautam continued his tapasya, and finally, after 6 months, Varun appeared before him. Varun blessed him and made him ask for a boon. Gautam described the sadness and desolation all around and asked for the boon of an immediate rainfall. However, Varun mentioned that the drought was a part of the cycle of natural phenomena, and it is an equal part of life and death. This has been decided by the gods. Death will follow new life, and one has to simply patiently wait. Gautam listened patiently and realized the truth behind what Varun had just told him. But in his mind, he was still searching for a solution for mankind. And he finally found an answer. He asked for the blessings of a continuous flow of an everlasting divine water, which will also yield permanent results. Varun agreed and instructed Gautam to dig a ditch. After Gautam finished digging, Varun filled it up with divine water, saying, "Let there be perennial supply of water in this sacred ditch. This ditch will be famous henceforth in your name, and everything offered to this water will be considered as a holy offering." Thus, the people in and around the Brahmagiri mountain started to experience life once more. Crops started to grow, trees and plants started to sprout new leaves, fruits and flowers. Starving children and the elderly who were suffering the most started to gradually regain their health. There were smiles once more on the faces of everyone. At this point, when life was just getting back to its regular rhythm, Gautam started to face a problem with the very water of the ditch which he had helped to dig. It so happened that one day Gautam had sent his shishyas, that is the disciples, to get water, to fetch water. However, they were rudely stopped by the wives of other sages who wanted to fill up their pitchers first. The disciples returned and narrated their experience to Ahalya, the wife of Gautam. Ahalya thought that there will be no problem at all if they go before the arrival of anybody else. So, next time Ahalya herself set off to fetch water. She reached the ditch early. No one was there. She filled up her water pitcher and started off for home. However, news reached the other sages and they realized that Ahalya had tricked everyone. They became furious and wanted to teach Gautam a lesson. They decided to pray to Ganesh. For this, thus when Ganesh appeared, all the sages asked him to create a situation where Gautam will be forced to leave the hermitage. Ganesh found this to be alarming and advised all the sages not to hurt someone who had only done good for everybody. The sages kept insisting, and Ganesh was also bound to grant a blessing to the devotees who had prayed to him. Thus finally Ganesh relented, as he had no other option. He took the form of a weak and feeble cow and started to graze in the field in front of Gautam's house. Gautam saw that the cow was grazing on his crops and wanted to shoo her away. He took some blades of grass, simple small blades of grass, and threw them at the cow to make her go away, to shoo her away. But instead, suddenly, the cow fell down on the ground. When Gautam rushed to have a closer look, he realized that the cow had died. Gautam was horrified, for he simply could not understand how a few blades of thin grass could kill any animal. However, Gautam knew the consequences of what had just happened in front of him. He knew that he had committed the biggest crime of killing a cow, which is against his religion and which demanded immediate penance. Thus, Gautam, along with Ahalya, left the hermitage and started to circumnavigate all around the Brahmagiri mountain range in an act of penance, speaking to everyone they met and telling them about the sin that he had committed. To add to this, his penance, at every stop, he created a Shiva Lingam and started to pray to Lord Shiva to seek his forgiveness. Gautam felt this was the only way his sin could be atoned, and he continued this for a very long time. Then one day, Lord Shiva appeared in front of Gautam, and the latter asked him to accept his penance and release him of his sin. But Lord Shiva, however, merely laughed and said that Gautam is one of the greatest sages and he has never committed any sin. Gautam was surprised at the answer. Lord Shiva now explained everything, and instead of being angry, Gautam started to think of purifying all of mankind. Thus he asked Shiva to bring river Ganga to the region to purify the mind, body and soul of everyone. Shiva blessed Gautam, who started praying to the river Ganga. Shiva too began to communicate with Ganga and instructed her, "O goddess, in the Kali Yuga, the son of Vivasvat will be the 28th Manu. Till then, you will remain in this region." Ganga heard the prayers of both Shiva and Gautam, but said that she would only agree to be there if Shiva also stays with her. Thus Shiva manifested himself through the Jyotirlinga at the site of Trimbakeshwar, meaning the three-eyed Lord. Till today, the temple of Trimbakeshwar is an important site and is one of the 12 Jyotirlingas in the nation. Thus, Ganga remained in the region and she was initially referred to as Gautami and later renamed as Godavari. All the men started to purify their body and soul by taking a dip in the water of the Godavari. But she was reluctant to allow the sages who had been so cruel to Gautam to have a bath in her water. However, Ganga finally agreed on Gautam's insistence, but mentioned that it would be limited to a small area. Gautam agreed and he dug a ditch for her to emerge from. Whoever had a bath in the ditch would be purified. This ditch still remains as the famous Kushavartha Tirtha at the Trimbakeshwar temple and can still be seen today.